Good morning, sports fans. This is George with Custom Type Flies and Guide Service. And, excuse me, this instructional is on Pete's black mini booger with a pink tail. Excuse me. I'm going to put the ingredients in the description, just like usual. And I'll walk you through them as I build this. We're going to start off with a Mustad 9672 and a black brass bead from Wholesale Fly Company, excuse me, in matte black. Excuse me. We're going to use some Hareline lead wire in 0.02. And we're just going to use 8 wraps of lead on here. And you're going to shove that up in the bead. I'm going to use some Danville Flymaster 140D in black. We're going to get tied in here. Build a little thread dam. And we're going to take some loose wraps up around the lead. And then pull that lead up into the head and make sure it's in there nice and tight. You just fold that tag up. Put a whip on it. And then we're going to put some head cement on there. And we're going to sit that off to cure. And my bobbin came unthreaded, so we're going to get that straightened back out. Now that didn't work. When in doubt, go to the tool. I'm just going to take my bobbin threader and put it down through the tube. Then I got some Nature Spirit Premium Boogeroo. Nope, that's the wrong stuff. Here it is. Perfect hatch. Shrimp pink. Strung Marabou. These are bigger than the Boogeroos. I'm going to get a nice fluffy one. You're going to rake those fibers down so you got this little tip here. Match that against the shank. All right. And you're just going to take a couple of big loose wraps right here. Just enough to get it positioned. And then snug it down. And then get that up out of the way. You can give that a twist to make it a little more manageable. Trim that off. Now this chunk here, in order to keep the bulk out, you can just trim that off. You're going to kind of try to meet that up with the back end of the lead. Not quite fluffy enough. So we're just going to take a look at the bottom part of that Marabou. That's not going to get it. Take a look at this Marabou. That's too thin. Take a look at this Marabou. That's a lot better. So these are dyed over white. So you're just going to trim that white part off. Pull these out. Take a pair of long nose scissors. Trim that off. Sit it down. Flip it over. Get your long nose scissors. Trim that off. Sit it down. Now you got something that you can add for some fluff. That's not enough. So here you got another one. Get that white part off of there. You want that tail nice and bushy. Now you pick that up, see how that's nice and bushy. And you want to match that up. Then this up here, you can just pop that off of there because it's going to be in the way. So is that. And then just take some loose pinch wraps. Snug and tighten as you go. All right, that gives us a nice fluffy tail. You're going to take a couple wraps underneath to keep that tail from getting fouled. All right, next is wire, your wire rib. And again, you want to think about how this stuff is going to go on. Somebody just sent me a text message. You want to think about how this stuff is going to go on. So the last thing that's going to get wrapped is the wire rib. So that goes on first. You start the tie in toward you and then finish it away from you. All right, next is your flash. Oh, by the way, that wire was UTC Ultra wire in silver. Next is your flash. I'm using 3 strands of Hareline's Rainbow Crystal Flash. You want to even them up. And they get laid across so they're right on top. Take a couple of pinch wraps. Work your thread then up toward the bead and then back towards the bend. And you can take this and fold it across and tie it in. All right, you got this laying. Whoop. Just a second, I'll bump the camera. All right, we're back in business. So next then is your black saddle hackle. So you got a black saddle hackle. This came off of a Ewing streamer saddle. Trim that fluff part off, and you're going to splay these out, and you want to make sure that the back, or the bottom part that's going to end up being at the front of the fly is at least 1 shank length long. You want to tie this in shiny side facing you. You're going to peel back the fibers to expose that tip, and then you want to put that in at a pretty steep angle. That's helpful for when you go to do your wraps. All right, and then last but not least is your chenille. This is extra small chenille. I get this in bulk from a place called Nimrod's Tackle Shop on eBay. I bought this hank of mini chenille like 20 years ago, and I still got a big chunk of it left. All right. Now we got that tied down. We're going to bring our crystal flash over the top. Just do an over and drop just to hold it in place. Then give it a snug. Trim that off. And then I use a pair of Hackle pliers to hold on to that so it don't go everywhere. I'm going to bring my Hackle up and make sure that you don't trap down the tail fibers. You want to check and make sure that your shiny side is pointed the way you want it to be. Because it's going to fight you. And you just fold those fibers back as you go. Advance up, palmering. Sometimes you have to readjust your Hackle pliers. And get up here to the front. Okay, now here you can take a couple of half hitches. Swing your bobbin cradle over and you grab your wire. I like to use a pair of Hackle pliers to hold on to the wire. And then you might need a hat pin or a bodkin to make sure that your saddle hackle fibers don't get trapped by the wire as you come up. That happens mostly when you're getting started and when you're finishing. There we go. Get that bobbin cradle out of the way, and then you're going to take 3 wraps or 4 wraps behind the wire and 2 in front. And then you just helicopter that off. Take a couple more securing wraps. Those fibers got trapped. So I'm just going to take my little hat pin here. I'm going to pick those out. You want to be very careful that you don't get under your little crystal flash there. All right, and I'm going to finish up with some Solarez Bone Dry. there you have it. So I hope this tutorial was helpful for you. Please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. You can find this and other cool fish catching bugs on my website at www.custom-tide.com. That's CUSTOM-TIED.com. Have a splash. Don't forget the dash. Happy tying.